Good day, I'm Vincent Saxtutter, and this is the After the Age of Fire channel. This is episode 36, recorded on March 14th, 2026. It's just a short episode about the Iran war, a couple thoughts about it. A while ago I recorded an episode about the end of oil, and followed up with that with the end of coal, oil, and gas. We can expect that sometime in the next, we may continue to increase our energy supply for a while. We might double it one more time. Right now we're getting about 42,000 calories per person per day from coal, oil, and gas. It's roughly divided about a third each, coal, oil, and gas, roughly. But soon after that, our supply of these three things will start to diminish, starting with oil, and then gas, and then coal. And we can expect them to divide by 2 at least twice. The doubling time of our energy supply has been about 22 years for the last 250 years, varying a little bit, but on average, each 22 years we had twice as much coal, oil, and gas as before. So we can expect the halving time to be roughly the same. So we can expect a peak in our energy supply from these fuels, and then we can expect them to divide by 2 down to around 10,000 or so. Now, what's going on with Iran war is that right now, with the Straits of Hormuz being closed, something around 20% of our oil supply is being threatened, and also a good fraction of our gas supply worldwide. So overall, we're talking not about 42,000 calories, but we're talking about more, just a few thousand, 3,000 or 4,000 probably calories per person per day are being threatened by the Straits of Hormuz being closed. And so the question is that you might ask is this in any way connected to the end of coal, oil, and gas that I was talking about? And I can see some connection. There is a connection, but it's not the end. There's still the oil in the ground, it's just not being delivered. There's still the gas in the ground, it's just not being delivered. And also the decrease in our oil supply is a few thousand calories per person per day. That's nothing like the decrease that there will be, when it finally gives out. We have a percentage decrease of 20% now, and that we can expect if it divides by 2 twice, that would be a 75% decrease. So it's just an enormous difference. If you are so one message I have to say is, if you're finding that the consequences of this particular historical incident are difficult for you, then you're not adequately prepared for what's coming in the next 50 to 100 years, when we'll just have much less oil, and eventually we'll have less gas and then less coal. So if you find that you're having problems, I suggest you restructure your finances or whatever, so that your orientation, so that you have ways of thriving that are not so dependent on having a ready supply of gas, of oil. Of course, there is some connection to the end. The fact is that for around 20 years now, our supply of what's called easy oil, the oil that's underground in lakes, has been steady. We have been unable to increase it. Instead, we've been fracking for oil. That's added a few thousand calories, and we've been trying to get heavy oil from places like Canada and Venezuela, which is very, very expensive. Both fracking and the heavy oil are expensive. Also, there's some, the cheap oil is at a peak and has been at a peak for a while, and after this it has nowhere to go but down, and that's is, and once the easy oil begins to seriously decrease, the other sources of oil won't be able to make up the difference, and that will begin the decline of oil overall. Still, most of our oil is the easy oil type, and that's what is being blocked at the Straits of Hormuz. And so the Straits of Hormuz wouldn't be such a big deal if we had ready supplies of oil around the world, if we weren't at our peak and we could just go and get more oil from other places. But the fact is, we've been trying our hardest to get oil out of the ground, and we're just doing the best we can, and any blockage anywhere reduces the amount that we have. It's because we are at the peak of easy oil and very close to the peak of total oil that the Straits of Hormuz are such a big deal. So they're a signal that we're getting close. They're a signal that oil is finite, and they're also perhaps a learning opportunity to prepare ourselves for what happens when oil really does begin to seriously decline. And and like, for instance, do we really want any country that has a supply of oil to therefore have extra liberty, extra strength, extra power over every other country? Because right now, if Iran closes the Straits of Hormuz, it is able to exercise that as a kind of power over many other countries, including over the United States. Do we really want countries to have that kind of power, not just Iran, but any other provider of oil? And if we don't want that, what would we need to do to make sure that we aren't so dependent on oil? So I think that's part of the price of oil, the fact that you become dependent on strangers, in fact, people who may actually dislike you or want to use you in some way, enslave you, because only a few people possess the world's oil, only a few people possess the world's gas, only a few people possess the world's coal. When you place yourself in a situation where you're getting most of your energy from coal, oil, and gas, or for that matter renewables, you become very dependent on the people who are providing it. And this is an opportunity to learn that one might not want to be so reliant on arbitrary strangers, and what one would need to do to not be so vulnerable. So those are a couple comments. Maybe I'll have a couple more thoughts later on, but I just thought it would be good to say this is not the end. But it is a signal of things to come. Okay, with that, I thank you. If you know of anybody who's interested in this content, please invite them and keep coming back.